sobbing in stairwells, audiobooks about rats, and Mormon Mulan on today's episode of Overqualified and Unmuted.
This episode is going to cover a little bit of what is happening at the time it's being recorded, and that is there is a lot of political and civil unrest in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and that is where we live. So it's very front and center of our lives. Obviously, this contains a lot of sensitive content. We're not going to go into great detail, but if this is a trigger for you, please tread carefully. Pause when you need to, and make sure you're taking care of yourself.
With that said, bites and delights. So driving into Minneapolis, I can imagine why that would be absolutely terrifying.
Nothing happened. It was absolutely fine, but I was prepared with my passport and my whistle.
Yeah. How about a delight?
Delight? Getting out of the house. So, yeah, managed to get out of the house on a few occasions. I would say, actually, my support network is amazing, and I count you in that. This one here dragged me out of the house with her husband to go buy cheese, which it was an act of normalcy that was just the greatest gift. I had some friends also drag me out of the house for a happy hour. And, yeah, it was just really great just to have little snippets of normalcy.
Yeah.
Little snippets of this is okay. It's not all on fire.
No. I'd actually say that my delight is very similar to that. My bite is, we can cut this if we need to. My bite is the injuries I sustained while in Minneapolis last Saturday, but it's nothing compared to others. So that's my bite. I'm pissed.
Do you want to talk about it?
So unlike your perspective where you're home all the time, I'm barely home. I don't really get a chance to stay home anymore. We have like a headquarters set up for a humanitarian effort that we've set up. And so those are my bites. My delights are that I have lived in St. Paul for 17 years, and I have never felt the type of community that I feel now in here. So
Agree.
Yep.
I'm proud to be a Scouser, but I'm really proud to have this place as my chosen home.
Agreed. Same. As somebody who's not from here, we both are, this is our choice to live here. And the weather is fucking awful, but I'm enjoying it a little bit more this year, knowing that we really have come together as a community, unlike anywhere I've ever lived.
So, as we said, this is being recorded at a time of...
Should we say this is being recorded on January 30th? Today is another
National Strike Day. Minnesota's doing it a little bit differently because we had a strike last Friday.
I think that the idea of a shutdown of large businesses is absolutely what we need.
And I think boycotting businesses that support this is also crucial.
Did you see the proclamation for the month of February in the state of Minnesota?
Did you see who was omitted?
No, tell them. Okay, for those of you who don't know, our governor, Tim Walz, has stated that February is the buy local in Minnesota month. That is the proclamation.
Well, I was thinking of something a little bit different because all of the prominent businesses in the area, and there are a lot of them that are headquartered here.
We have the largest number of Fortune 500 companies in the country located here. If not their global headquarters, their national headquarters are here.
Yeah, and they all got together and put out a statement saying that, they are with Minnesota, they don't support the activities that are going on. There are noticeably a couple of companies absent from that proclamation, and you should check that out. I'm not going to name them here.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'll do my research and name them later.
Go do your research. And I mean, you won't be surprised.
No, I don't think I will be.
So
there are a couple of places that I will say I've been delighted that people are making the choices with their dollars. A dollar is a vote in the capitalist society.
So, today's episode, let's get into it. The Authenticity Trap. So this is how bringing your whole self to work can sometimes feel performative and inauthentic. So we're going to talk about this with the backdrop of everything that's going on. And we're going to discuss how what bringing your whole self to work means, what it means in the current climate, and we're going to give you some tips and strategies for showing up at work when your stress levels might be high for various reasons. What is bringing your whole self to work?
If you had asked me 5 years ago, it would have been totally different. Now, it is a very compartmentalized version of who that person was 5 years ago. And I think that has to do with when we all went remote. The way that I process people and things around me is that I'm an observer and I'm a pattern recognizer. So when I'm no longer able to do vibe checks, I don't know how to test how to find people. And so that I had to be a little bit different in terms of how I approached people that I didn't know, because I'm onboarding at new companies during remote.
So would you say you have a separate work persona now?
Yeah. It's not all that different, right? It's just like a sepia version. Yeah. But it's like a sepia version of me.
Yeah.
Right? So like anybody who knew me a couple of years ago, I had bright blue hair, like I very out there, in your face. And now, it is a little bit more toned down. It's like a sepia version of...
Polished.
A little, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I would say my work persona is a lot more pronounced. I keep a lot of things separate. I would say, I'm me, however I show up.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But how I show up at work is going to be very different to how I show up for my kid or how I show up for my partner.
And it needs to be.
Yeah. So this is my work persona. I'm not using the accent.
This accent is not your accent.
This is not my accent. My hair is curly. Yeah, I don't normally have this much makeup. I'm a lot spicier at home.
Absolutely.
I have opinions. I'm a lot more reserved at work. I tend to read the room more. When I'm in my safe space, don't need to read the room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely have.
You've taught me that, the reading the room thing. I was absolutely coming from a place of privilege because we worked together prior to COVID, and you gave me a glimpse of that.
I did?
Yes. You take temperature checks.
Oh, all the time.
I never had to do that. I never had to do that. Are you kidding me? I'm a ball buster. I walk into a room. We don't need to measure. I've arrived. Let's get down to business. And you are taking temperature checks, making sure when you are very strategic.
Sorry, you said let's get down to business, and I got the Disney song.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Can we talk about how that was a Mormon? A white Mormon?
Really? Oh, Donny Osmond? Yeah.
We've discussed this in the past and how I thought that was a poor casting choice.
It was certainly interesting. Yeah, choices were made.
It was like Rosie O'Donnell was casting. No? Nobody got that reference. She was in love with Donny Osmond when she did her show. That is a reference from the 90s, guys.
We're old.
That's the zeitgeist I have.
Okay, so we've talked about how we have maybe not different personalities, but different personas.
Yeah, it's like, I consider it like Trivial Pursuit. Do you know, like, everybody has like a pie piece? Yeah. So like, I have one pie piece that is my work persona. That's it.
Yeah.
You only get that one pie piece.
I mean, if you talk about it in a really extreme way, like, I'm not about to talk about my sex life with my manager or
Absolutely.
my team. So,
and if you're doing that, this is a really good time to check in with yourself. If you just said...
It depends on where you're working.
If you work at the Smitten Kitten, it makes perfect sense.
Right.
We don't work at the Smitten Kitten.
No, we work in corporate America where that language does not fly.
Yeah. So that's a really great call, right? Like, there are just parts of your life that you don't talk about at work. And especially during these times where you may all of a sudden be forced to talk about things that you aren't used to that can be uncomfortable.
Yeah. So, I mean, talking about yourself, that's a really obvious example.
No, but it's a really good example. I think it's solid.
Okay. But sometimes when you have a different persona for work and you've got things like current events happening, it could feel a little bit inauthentic to come in with your work.
Absolutely.
persona. And it's not business as usual, but you've got to act like it is.
If I were at the same a corporation of the past that's in my mind right now that I'm not going to say, where I was absolutely of a political minority in terms of my thoughts, in terms of where I lived, and in terms of my views, that was made very clear to me right away.
I've been there.
Right? Of course. I would have a very different take on what I'm doing currently in my community, how vocal I'm being, what I'm putting out on social media. That would probably change because I'm no longer attached to that. I have so much more freedom because I'm a freelancer.
Yeah.
So there is something freeing about that.
Whereas I do not have that freedom
Exactly.
at this point in time.
And it's a privilege. Let's be very real. That's a privilege that not everybody has. And these last 2 weeks have really enlightened me in terms of what privilege looks like.
So let's get into that a little bit. So we're talking about how bringing your whole self to work can feel a little bit inauthentic sometimes, or having that work persona. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One, we've covered trauma and stress outside of work. So if you've got your trauma and stress outside of work, everything's happening, you feel like your world's on fire, and then you're looking at a spreadsheet for 8 hours. It can feel...
And I've seen people approach that 2 different ways, right? I've seen people who are like, I'm going to dive into work. I don't want to think about anything happening in my real world. And I'm just going to... And then you've got the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I can't think about it, doing anything else.
I have no focus. Like, I can't look at spreadsheets. Life is bigger than that.
It's such a personal thing, too.
Yeah. Cultural mismatches. So if you're bringing your whole self to work and your whole self is other, a minority, not... I don't know how to describe it.
So think of somebody in a show, because that's what what do you mean by other?
So I'm thinking of, say you've got your corporate holidays, you've got New Year, you've got Martin Luther King Jr. Day, you've got Independent, all the American holidays. I celebrate 3 New Years. I celebrate the Western New Year, I celebrate Chinese New Year, and I celebrate Sri Lankan New Year. And I don't often talk about that unless I feel safe to, because the responses you can get from the work environment vary depending on how conservatively corporate they are.
What is a way that somebody who looks like me would be able to tell what you see? Can we talk about that, like that specific example? Sri Lankan New Year. What does it look like for a corporate environment that is supportive?
A corporate environment that is supportive tends to have flex holidays so that you can choose the holidays that you want to celebrate. Also opens things up. So there's an element of curiosity there. People ask questions. There's the level of assumptions are lowered.
Growth mindset.
Yes.
Versus assumptions where people have that fight or flight and they get irked so easily. Yeah, absolutely. And what does it look like when a corporation is neutral?
Neutral how? Neutral.
So I want to see if there, and I don't know if there is, so bear with me. Is there like supportive, neutral, non-supportive?
Got it. So I've just covered supportive. Neutral would be you have your bog standard policies. It's a bit like, I want to say don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get penalized for having different beliefs. It's just, that is what it is. But we're here to talk about work. We're not here to talk about your personal life.
Absolutely.
And then non-supportive is, we don't value your beliefs. You need to value ours.
Yeah,
so,
that's nice, but you'll get Christmas Eve off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. And just in terms of folks are wondering what it would look like to bring a little bit more support to their corporate world, and they might not be as influential as somebody who can change policy, just by asking with good intent might form a support to somebody else.
Yeah. And it takes time to build that safe space for people to talk about their different cultures.
How do you feel when an organization says we don't see color?
I hate that phrase. I hate that so much. So, I mean, we look different. We look different. We sound different.
Yes.
We act different.
Very much so.
How can you say you don't see color?
But people do. They say, oh, no, we don't see color. Well, bitch, how do you get dressed? Like, let's stop that. No, we don't see color. No, we honor every color. Like, we honor culture. We honor who people are here as they are.
Saying you don't say color washes over all of the trials and tribulations and I was going to say discomfort, but it's more...
It is. It's much more caustic than that.
The trauma of the past. Mm-hmm. So, like,
Dare I say it whitewashes it?
It whitewashes it. It does. So you're making the assumption that everybody has the same privilege, the same access as everybody else. And we've all had different experiences.
The inequity versus inequality. So that's exactly... So many people think they're doing the right thing by saying we don't see color, and they're actively harming the scenario. So if you are someone that looks like me that says that, I've got some books that you can read to actively work on yourself. And if you're interested in that, please DM me.
Yeah, because, I mean, to this day, looking at what is happening, people of color do not have the same rights. We might on paper, I don't even know if that's true, but we do not have the same rights. Mm-hmm. And then women do not have the same rights. No. So, yeah, you can't say you don't see color. You can't. No. It does a disservice.
I just really wanted to put that
I went on my soapbox, didn't I? It's like, how do you get Sonia riled up?
I love it when you get on your soapbox, because then I just don't feel alone standing up there alone.
The last thing we were talking about how things can feel inauthentic sometimes, is fear of judgment, and I think that's a big one.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why you dip a toe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you have to read the room.
And the repercussions of that judgment in a work setting.
So, balancing authenticity with corporate culture. We're going to give you a few tools to use when you feel like it is very difficult to focus on work, to bring your whole self to work, all of the above. And I think it's very timely.
Yeah, and maybe how to, because it does protect yourself, right? Like, you having this persona does put a buffer up between you and everything else that's out there, and how you curate that persona can vary. So
yeah, and I mean, it varies on the situation. It varies on the corporate environment.
Or, like, it does matter if you're working in a factory versus working as a mechanic versus working alone as a plumber right under somebody's sink. All of those scenarios require different lenses, right? Different triangles of your Trivial Pursuit wheel.
Yeah.
So what are some examples, or what are some ways that folks can take a look at that?
I think take a look at yourself. So you have to know your boundaries. Mm-hmm. You have to know what you're willing to share, what you're not willing to share, why that is. And I think you have to take that in the context of where you're working and who you're working with.
I've been doing that this week. I've been a volunteer coordinator, and I've realized that as I've been working, like, oh, I've got a meeting in a different place, I'm like deleting my text messages and just saying I'm available after 1. They don't need to know where I am, what I'm doing. I'm available after 1. So that's just how I'm showing up a little bit differently.
I'm trying to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I give way too much information.
Yeah. It is a struggle, because I want someone to feel, it's like that people pleaser in me. I want someone to feel like there's an actual rapport there. You mean something to me. You are a good volunteer. You're a good person. I feel like sharing, but it's really a parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to put those boundaries on there while still maintaining community, and it's a challenge.
Yeah, my sales rep for a vendor does not need to know that I have a therapist appointment at 2.
That was actually the exact same. I have a meeting at 10. It's my therapy appointment. I'm not going to be available until afterward. I was struggling with that too.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to modulate your... So, some things to say when the conversation might be a little bit uncomfortable.
Sure.
Where your boundaries are about to be breached. You could say, that topic's a little personal.
You've got so many of these, and they're so good. I am just like, the happy hour one is my favorite.
Oh, I use this one a lot, actually.
Yeah.
This is a story for a happy hour. We need a drink for this story.
And then you just kind of like laugh and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so smooth.
Yeah. I'll tell you that story another time.
Oh boy, I'll tell you that story. Woo.
Yeah. Let's stay
Oh,
on
you
topic
haven't heard
for
that
this.
one?
Oh, you have a look at the time. You say, "Oh, we've got 10 minutes left of this meeting. Come on, let's get back to the topic at hand." There's lots of ways you can distract.
Yeah, it's deflect and like kind of pivot.
Yeah, and it's not bringing attention to the fact that you have that boundary. You can if they start pushing.
Sure.
But you don't have to.
Can I ask you, have you noticed a different reaction between generations at work and the ability to pick up on that cue? I've noticed that certain generations don't understand what a boundary is, that they don't understand unless you say the words, "this is a boundary." And that's why they get confused.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to call that out as...
And they tend to overshare as well.
And I have worked in an environment where we had a vendor who I did not know, and I got intimate details via email about the birth that they had. A vendor. Please stop sharing medical data about strangers with your coworkers. Inappropriate. I don't need to know her centimeters dilated. Just because I work at an insurance company doesn't mean I'm going to talk about someone's labor and delivery. Like that, not normal. If somebody is like, just make sure that you are only sharing what needs to be shared.
There's HIPAA rules for that as well.
Exactly. It just completely inappropriate. Just when you're sharing, even if it's a GoFundMe for people, make sure that they want that known to the people that they work with.
Yeah. Yeah, and that leads to read the room. Read the room. So authenticity does not mean ignoring context. And authenticity doesn't mean sharing everything.
It's knowing what to share.
And when. Yeah. So an example of reading the room is, say you're meeting with C-suite and you're presenting to them. You don't want to go into a life story, that one time
you don't need to share the reason why you're nervous is because of the scorching case of thrush you picked up over the weekend.
That's a good example. Yeah, you don't need to get that personal.
No, it's not necessary.
If you're with a team that you have led or been a part of for several years, chances are you're going to be more familiar with each other. I still wouldn't share the thrush story.
I would never, do you know what I mean? That's why I thought it was like a really good example, because I couldn't imagine a time where I would walk into a conference room back when we were in person and be like putting down my things and be like, "Listen, guys, I'm going to stand."
But, I mean, presenting to C-suite, that is a very rigid, professional setting. If, say, you have a worker who is remote in Minneapolis, or your manager asks you as a worker who lives in Minneapolis, like, how are you doing? I would feel comfortable sharing at least a little.
I was going to say, but we actually talked about that too.
Yeah.
And how if you are still trying to read the room because you are remote, factual neutrality.
Yes.
Like you had a great example of that where it was just like, I'm just stating what the facts are.
Yeah. So you say, this is what is happening. This is how it's affecting my focus. This is how it's affecting my ability to do my job. Rather than getting into the politics of it all, because that's where opinions might differ. And that takes, you need to communicate. You need to communicate with your manager that this is what you need to take care of. That doesn't require a whole ton of detail, though.
Agreed.
So
or it doesn't have to.
No, you don't need to tell them that you have a rat infestation that has nibbled at your electrical lines. But you can tell them that you don't have electricity right now. Are you okay?
Nightmare fuel.
Sorry. I was reading a fantasy story earlier today that involved a rat infestation. That's why that was.
And it led to that? That's awful.
So
I can smell that audiobook.
it's a really good audiobook. It talked about this rat infestation, and then it talked about how, like, the parallels between how they were treating the rats and how this other person was treating this whole other species. And they're like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
It was really well written.
Well set up. Yeah, that's nice.
Anywho, gosh, where was I? Read in the room.
Rats.
Rats are in the room. Find allies in safe spaces. If you can't, if you don't feel like work is entirely a safe space, you can find pockets. You can find people who are like-minded. It might be outside of work.
It might be before work.
Yeah, it might be before work. It might be in your breaks. Your company might have resource groups. Lean on those if you can. But
stairwells.
We have, our previous job had a stairwell that we used as our safe space.
Yeah.
And it worked really well.
And we weren't the only ones.
No.
Which we didn't know, like, until we were already, like, actively using the stairs on a regular basis to kind of decompress or process.
Like half the team's here, what we do.
I'm like, oh my God, is there somebody? Like, okay, when you go and you, like, look up on the stairwell and then you look down and you hear crying and you don't know where it's coming from, you realize how many people are using the stairwell.
So, allies, safe spaces.
Yep.
Communicate with intention. I think I said that. Frame external stresses around how it impacts work.
Can we give some examples of that?
So, yes.
Maybe like using a weather scenario. So say you had a tornado in your area. How would you frame that to other people, how your situation is impacting work?
So, I mean, I can say, hey, boss, there's an active tornado warning right now. I'm going to be working from the basement. I might be offline intermittently as I take care of the family. I can let you know when things are back to normal.
And how would you frame that as a manager to your team?
I would say as a manager, if I knew that something was happening, I would say, hey, we're aware of this situation. We are not doing anything that is so urgent that you put your life at risk or you put your safety at risk. That always comes first. If there is, if you're working at a call center, it can be a little bit difficult, but the job that I have, there's a fair amount of flexibility. So we could do flexible hours. You could work at night if you need to,
It's skeleton crew, right? Yeah. So like as a leader, what I would do is I would tell everybody, hey, this is what's happening with my team. We might be intermittent. There's a weather concern in my area. But then I would pivot and tell my team, focus on the following. These are the priorities and this is what has to happen at work.
Yes.
These are the things that we can really let slide.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's different.
And if you have to shift those priorities, you can.
Yes.
You can de-escalate things. And that's what leaders do. They will communicate. I mean, your team can communicate with stakeholders as well. But as a leader, you should be setting that standard that if somebody's safety is at risk, they're not going to get that spreadsheet to you.
And to allow grace. To maybe say, could we do that spreadsheet for so-and-so? Instead of watching someone as they drown, asking them to make a list for you on how to save them, maybe we just kind of step in when something is happening and volunteer.
Yeah.
Help the helpers.
I think this is more of a long-term exercise because to get to that point, you have to already have that zone of safety for your workers to come to you and say, hey, I'm going through this, I need help.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't feel safe to say, I need help. It shows a level of vulnerability.
Absolutely.
So to promote that, you have to show that yourself.
That vulnerability with your team.
Yeah.
And you've got to show that it's not seen as weakness.
Yeah.
To say these are the following things that I need. Because even IKEA furniture comes with instructions. Like, we're allowed to say what our needs are.
Yeah.
I'm saying this, guys, as like very clearly still working on this myself, but
oh, it's an iterative process.
Exactly. And so if you're sitting here like me, when I first started talking about this, we started talking about it, I was like, oh my God, these are all the ways in the past that I've been a shitty leader for all the following ways. And then I was like, but they all taught me something. So all the things that keep me up at night in terms of the ways that I wish I had handled something differently, I can now say to myself, I would handle that differently today. I've learned X, Y, and Z since then.
That's great.
And I can apply, exactly. So if you're hearing this and you're starting to get a little defensive about the way that you've led or the way that you've been an individual contributor, please know that everything that's been in the past you can use as holding up a mirror to yourself and saying, these are the ways that I don't want to be anymore.
Yeah.
Or this is how I want to be in the future.
Yeah, that takes a degree of self-awareness. You have to
Absolutely.
stop and say, hey, I'm getting defensive. Why is that?
That is so important. That level of curiosity is not innate with everybody. So if you're like, I don't really think about that, maybe you're not very curious, and that's okay.
Recognize the diversity of perspectives and also a diversity of experiences. I say this though, you need a boundary there.
Tell me more.
So diversity of perspective. I had a situation recently where I was in an email chain. We were talking about an event.
Go on.
We were talking about an event, and this event was being organized before shit hit the fan in the Twin Cities. And all of a sudden, the conversation changed to, do we feel comfortable going ahead with this event? This was the organizing committee talking about it. Like, should we find another space? Should we just cancel it? What do we do? And I raised my hand and said, yeah, I don't actually feel safe. I think at that time, there were 2 vehicles outside my house.
On a regular basis, to the point where I was driving by multiple times a day to make sure that you were okay.
But at this point, they were outside.
Yes,
outside the door.
You were hiding.
Yeah, they were
in her home.
They were parked diagonally, blocking the road, and I'm like, oh, shit's gonna go down. So I had my back to the wall as I was typing out this message, and I said, look.
And I want to be very clear. Sonia is a citizen of the United States of America. And even if you weren't, rights are guaranteed. So
that was the situation. I emailed and said, I don't feel safe. I don't think I'd be driving into the cities at this point. I am not leaving the house. And I said, at the point of writing this, my back is actually against the wall and I'm peeking through my blinds. And another organizer said, oh yeah, that can be a little unnerving when there's a weird van. I've had weird vans following me before. And this is a case of somebody not reading the route or intentionally.
I think it was completely intentional.
Just being obtuse.
He looks like he seasons his food with thoughts and prayers.
This person has very different political beliefs to me. I would say they have a very different perspective on immigration than I do. I believe that undocumented immigrants, for whatever reason they're here, they are still people.
I don't think that, as somebody who prides myself on where my people came from, very specifically as not America, I can sit here and say anything about anybody's immigration status. Because one, my people came over in the 1600s. We're the reason why this land is like this. Sorry.
Yeah, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way when people are like, these people are keeping to themselves and they're not assimilating and they're not adopting the Western culture. And I'm like, I don't see you adopting any Native American cultures. So, yeah, this person, we were trying as a group to say that's not the issue at stake. And this person refused to acknowledge it. So what I did was, let's turn this conversation back to safety. Let's take it away from politics. Let's talk about safety. Let's talk about it in reference to the event. And let's try and find a way forward.
Right.
Because we were never going to agree.
Right.
And there's no point in trying. If someone is...
No, it's
like,
a no-win scenario.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So...
And that's that growth mindset. I think it is the responsibility of anybody who is trying to work with other people to really be focused on a growth mindset and what that means.
Yeah.
That means that when you are presented with a bunch of things that you're not anticipating, that your fight or flight, if it gets triggered, you're aware of it so you can self-regulate and understand why you're feeling defensive. That you are open to other people's ideas. That it's not just about the things that you come up with, right? So
Yeah.
it's respecting and being really excited and having an enthusiasm for what other people bring. And I think that is absolutely the responsibility of anybody.
So something that is really difficult to do is work with people who, when you found out that their beliefs, their values are so different to yours.
Yeah.
And it is really difficult to overcome that, but you have to work together.
So from my perspective, it's going to be very different because I have a choice. I have a choice in finding out what other people...
Oh, because you freelance?
No, not even that so much, but because I'm white. I can play make-believe.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't do that.
No,
So
because
can I
I
ask
have
a question about
funny accent and I look funny and like I was raised Western.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar, but I'm also half Sri Lankan, and then I'm British. I wasn't raised in this country, so I'm not familiar with other cultures. I have no idea of what a tater tot hot dish tastes like. I've never tried it.
So when you've been working with people and you've been working with them for a while and you find out that there is a divide.
This actually happened fairly recently.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
What is that like? What does that feel like? Because for me, it's very different. For me, I'm just disappointed.
So it's difficult to work with people who don't agree with your existence. Don't agree with your very existence. That is tough. What I tend to do, because you can't get around it, you could try and find a different job. In this economy, it's not easy and it doesn't work for everybody. Get to know that person.
You're so much better than I am.
I schedule like a one-on-one coffee date and I'll try and find some common ground. And it works both ways in that you can associate that person with your common ground rather than with their values.
You're literally Pavlovian training yourself to feel better about this human being.
But you're training them too.
I know,
because they're
it
starting
works.
to see you as a person.
You are doing it because it works.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of effort.
It does.
And I just don't. I want people to see that takes effort.
It does.
You're the one going about that.
Side note.
Yeah.
Kudos to all the therapists in the area.
Can we just say that the therapists that are in group chats, sharing and networking in our area, we say Minnesota is the land of 10,000 treatment facilities. That's a mental health joke for the folks who are coming from the mental health world. What's up?
So we've gone through how authenticity is about being real, but not verbalizing everything.
And that's hard. That's a skill.
Yeah, knowing what to say and when is a skill, and it takes practice, which goes into...
Excuse me. Keep going.
Goes into this is a journey.
Yeah.
This is not an on-off switch. This is something that you work on and take step by step, and you're not going to get it perfect every time.
And it's like Chanel, with like the editing yourself, right? You look in the mirror before you go and you take one thing off.
Oh.
That self-editing is a skill. It's a refining of yourself.
Corporate culture is context, meaning every scenario is different. You need to read the room.
And I think corporations vary.
Like
we're
absolutely.
saying corporate, but we both know that there is a very big difference between a femtech company and, the quarter zips down at the Finbros.
Oh. So modulate your behavior to your environment.
With whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. External stressors do influence our emotional experience at work. This is something that is very important to acknowledge. People who work above you, under you, they're all human. They're all experiencing different things with their own lives and everything going on around
For the first time. I've never gone through these times before. I'm trying my best to get through them. I'm not as experienced as going through this as other people. And there are like two British people that I consume my news from. It's that guy, the thicky, dumb guy, and then a woman who tells me history with Amy. So that is the only way that I'm really consuming news right now, other than witnessing it and on TikTok. So
yeah, TikTok for me is a form of escapism than anything else. So I'm not watching the news stories as much. I'll consume a little bit, and then I'm like, on to capybaras.
you know what I just realized?
What?
We have comments that we should talk about right now.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Let's go into it.
All right, I'm going to pause real quick and we'll go get those. All right, so we've got some comments and I wanted to bring them up where you can watch this. You can watch us on YouTube.
You can stream the podcast. We're also on YouTube. We love comments. We love feedback.
If anybody didn't look on YouTube, we are wearing some very interesting sweaters. We have, this calls for a spreadsheet. And that wasn't very data-driven of you. We do have those, and we were wearing those. So we got a lot of folks saying, data analytics _simplified stated, those sweaters though. I'm adding the inflection as I see fit.
Sleepy Moose 726. Another super interesting one. I like the different perspectives on describing relentless drive. I have ADHD, and the way Sonia described it does sound like me, but doesn't happen often, and you do have to be really careful not to let yourself burn out. Something I've spectacularly failed at. Oh, us too.
Us too. That is something that's so real because to me, I don't actually view it as burnout until I am burnt out. This week especially. You've been like, you need to slow down.
Yeah, I've been texting her like, maybe take some time away.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like, no.
You don't need to spend 14 hours a day on... If there was ever a woman who is like, boy, I need to control everything around me. So I am working through it, and I'm taking this weekend off. You should know. So,
but I mean, that takes practice.
The second one, this one is again from Catherine Pierce. Thank you for your comment. I like your different personalities and perspectives. Those large implementation products have the same overall challenges of defining the end goal, clean, organized inputs, and identifying interactions and data exchanges with other departments. All the hard work that makes magic bean. Yes, it is so true. That like baton relay of data is something that will make or break an organization. And I don't think people really understand that. They really think it's just gonna, it'll all work out. But data being clean takes work.
I think actually the hardest part is not cleaning the data and making sure it's all accurate. The hardest part of any big project is communication and change management.
This is why I don't believe in conspiracy theories. Because if anybody has ever been a project manager, you know how hard it is to get 6 people to work at the same time together.
Cats. Yes.
Like greased cats on a rainy night. Okay? No way. So that's why I don't believe in conspiracy theories. Sleepy Moo. Sleepy Moo is a fan. I'm loving Sleepy Moo.
I want to know who Sleepy Moo is.
I know. Message us.
I think I can hazard a guess.
Can you?
I think it's a friend from home.
Is it someone that I've seen?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
I really enjoyed this. Can't wait to listen to more and see how the conversations developed. Just listen to your podcast. Love you and what you're doing. But she had some questions. All right. They are seeking a mentor who is a female. And I think they're wondering how you deal with finding a mentor in a female-driven hierarchy where that is not the standard and where older women are sometimes viewed as being mean, dismissive.
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword because sometimes women are seen as that because they are women and they're meant to be soft.
Right? And maybe that's your own bias that's applying that.
Yeah, so you need to take a look at why you're viewing them that way. But there is also the general notion that, and I've seen this play out in so many different scenarios, it's not just women in leadership, where you have worked so hard to get to that place. And you see it like reflected in senior leadership, C-suite, there are 8 men and 1 woman. And you're like, there's only room for 1 woman. And you start gatekeeping. You start blocking.
You become a dragon of knowledge.
Yes. You see other women as a threat. You don't see men as a threat because they've got 8 positions. Right. But you've got that 1. I don't think that's the correct way to view things. I like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg
used
to say that she would only be satisfied when the Supreme Court was all women. I like that approach. Why does it have to be majority men?
It is absolutely the kind of vibe where it's like we build a bigger table. If you are finding that it's true, the tropes are true in your environment where there are women who are, instead of helping others,
Hindering?
and instead of lifting up, they are stifling and being someone to encourage that ceiling to exist, they're not the person you want as a mentor anyway.
You might not be able to find a mentor in your workplace, but you can find different groups outside. So
Absolutely.
I'm in data. I can look for local data groups, and there are a ton of them in the Twin Cities. But there's also a bunch of online ones. Data is everywhere. So you can find communities. There are communities on TikTok.
And there are people who are passionate about it.
Yes.
So, like, that's, you want to find other people.
People who want to help other people. People who want to mentor. You can find them. You don't have to take an official route to do it.
Right.
And a mentor is somebody that you are comfortable talking to, who will give you pragmatic advice and will coach you to thinking in a certain way that helps, you know?
How do you show up for a mentor? I want to ask both sides, right? Like, in terms of authenticity, how are you showing up for your mentor, and how are you showing up as a mentor?
So, as a mentee, you show up for your mentor with a specific goal in mind. You're like, I want to get here, or I want to tackle this problem.
Or this is how I'm thinking about tackling it.
Yeah.
What do you think? You show up with something for them to react to.
Yes. You're like, here are the facts. This is what I have. Can you review? Can you give me feedback?
I love being a mentor who pressure tests things in terms of like, this is what I'm seeing. Have you ever done anything like this? What would you recommend? What questions am I missing? Those are my favorite kind of consults.
Okay.
I personally love.
Yeah, and it's really important in that first discussion with mentor and mentee to talk about your personal styles and how you solicit and give feedback and so on and so forth. So as a mentor, I tend to let the mentee lead because the session is more for them than for me. I am there to help in any way I can. I try not to just give answers. I will give suggestions if needed, but I try to lead people towards their own conclusions.
I absolutely agree. Because what I'm trying to teach is how I got to that conclusion so that they can get there faster.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Teach at the end of the dish.
That's it. And that's so important. I do the exact same thing. We go down the logic train together.
Yes.
And we all get to the same conclusions.
And it's not easy. It takes practice.
It does.
Because I'm Hermione Granger. I'm like, I have the answer.
She's whispering the lines that other people are saying, just like Hermione Granger. That was something that Emma Watson did, if you guys ever watched movie one.
I'm kind of like that. So it does take practice. I don't always get it right. But I think the best way to mentor is to help shape those critical thinking patterns.
I agree. And to start that pattern recognition.
Yeah.
I agree.
And explain the why.
Thank you. This isn't the Mr. Miyagi School of Leadership. I hate that shit. Wax on, wax off. For what? I am fully transparent in why I'm asking you to do something.
Yeah.
That, like, if I'm like, you know what? This is what I think would be really beneficial. Go out and do X. And if people are like, I'm going to tell you why.
We both approach parenting that way as well.
Absolutely.
Like,
because I'm so anti strict authoritarianism.
Oh gosh, that "why" is a crooked letter used to send me as a child. So
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like if you want to set me off, say because that's why, or "why" is a crooked letter, or anything along those lines. I think explaining where if you have any opportunity to expand someone's understanding of something, take it.
Otherwise, it's a missed opportunity.
I've been on a lot of soapboxes today.
I love it.
I have really opinions today.
All right, are you ready for the next one?
Sure.
We've dealt this. The next one is so poignant. Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
I have such a firm take on this that I have my mantra.
Oh, go ahead.
Real imposters don't get the syndrome. They know they're imposters. They don't get the syndrome.
I think imposter syndrome really shows its face when you're in an environment that is not necessarily created for you.
Or when you find yourself stretching to reach the next milestone, right? Like that bit of uncomfortableness where you're like, I think I can do it, but I don't really know.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten so comfortable with imposter syndrome.
It's being uncomfortable. It's becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm so comfortable with that it doesn't faze me anymore. But it's taken years. I think for me, it's a little bit different because of my culture and the way I was raised and the environment I was raised in. Mm-hmm. Like, if you look at my school photos, and my siblings are the same way, it looks like we joined the KKK. Like, it's us and then a sea of blonde kids at birthday party. Like,
Sonia does Utah.
But we grew up in a very white environment. Our school, primary school at least, we were one of maybe two non-white families. And I think the feeling of being different is just so inherent to me now that I don't feel the imposter syndrome as much. Because wherever I go, I feel like I'm...
You're already used to feeling a little different. So that isn't something that you're adding on. So can I flip that then?
Sure.
People who are experiencing imposter syndrome, one, work on yourself and get comfortable with what you're saying and get comfortable with who you are and being okay with being different. But at the end of the day, that's what that is. You're projecting your own insecurity about the work that you are doing and the job that you are doing onto the current thing. And it doesn't have to do with the current thing. The call's coming from inside the house.
Yeah. I mean, who's telling you don't belong there? Who's telling
what
you
voice
you can't
is
do
that?
it?
Yeah, like... What voice is that? Like, let's talk about that, right? That's where I would go as if I were mentoring somebody who was asking me about imposter syndrome. Yeah.
And again, that speaks to a cultural thing because at least in Britain, that imposter syndrome, it gives you that sense of humbleness, humility.
Interesting.
You can't boast about anything in Britain.
That's very Scandi, too. We see that in Minnesota, too, where people are uncomfortable.
You're meant to be humble.
You're meant to be humble.
Like, I do okay. I get by. You're not meant to say, I rock it.
I'm the best at this.
Yeah.
We do say it differently, though. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody. I think imposter syndrome is when you are specifically feeling weird about the comparison with somebody else or the idea of somebody else.
Oh, I don't see it that way. I think imposter syndrome is you are... Say, for example, doing your day job, I don't belong here. Somebody's going to find me out.
That's very interesting. I find that I'm experiencing imposter syndrome less when I've gotten the job and more when I'm trying to get the job.
I've never had going to get a job, I have brass balls. Like,
yeah.
I
think
moon.
mind clang, no. Okay? But that is when I get imposter syndrome.
But, I mean, the stuff I've done... When I was younger and had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, I now have some idea of what I'm doing. So, yeah, I could rock this.
That has to do with how secure you are, I think.
Yeah, because I know my value.
I think that's interesting because I am wanting to make sure that they don't regret choosing me beforehand, and you're wanting to make sure they don't regret choosing you afterward.
Huh. I never thought of it that way.
Because you've delivered this amazing promise.
When I'm getting the job, though...
Yeah.
I know I can rock it. I'm looking at the job. I'm like, the skills, yeah. The people, that's the harder thing.
Yeah.
And I'm assessing them as much as they're assessing me because I want to be in the right work environment.
And we know that viewpoint is something that we've had to both work hard to get in the right rooms with people so that we're only working with people that we really enjoy.
Let's end on that note.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. This has been Overqualified and Unmuted.
I'm Sonia.
I'm Cass. We'll check you next time. Bye.
This has been Overqualified and Unmuted, hosted by Sonia Keeney and Cass White.
Produced by Just Loud Enough Media. If you come across something strange, confusing, or absolutely bizarre in the wild world of corporate, feel free to send it our way. Overqualified and unmuted.com. Until next time.
We talk about different things or where.
This has been Overqualified and Unmuted, hosted by Sonia Keeney and Cass White. Produced by Just Loud Enough Media. If you come across something strange, confusing, or absolutely bizarre in the wild world of corporate, feel free to send it our way. Overqualified and unmuted.com. Until next time.
Talk about different things or where.